I want to jump back for a minute, though, and before we maybe entertain any questions from the co-investigators or myself, and give you some more insight into our study members themselves. As I've tried to reinforce, the reason why this study exists today is that we've got tremendous cooperation from almost 4,000 men for most of their life. But we've had very little face-to-face contact with the study members. And so I just give a little bit of glimpse into some of these things. The man on the right is Dr. Mathewson. The man on the left is Mr. Joel Aldred. So I'm not sure whether it's okay to give people's names or not, but I will. Mr. Aldred was a bomber pilot, and he was the booming voice of CBC radio in the 1950s, 1960s. So he's kind of like the Peter Mansbridge of the early years. And at some Air Commonwealth reunions that were held in Winnipeg in the 80s, we had an opportunity to give a presentation, and the study members had commissioned a painting of this Lancaster, and he presented it to Dr. Mathewson. 10 years later was the 50th anniversary of the study, July 1st, 1998. And Dr. Cuddy and I put together a program for 2 days where we invited as many of the study members from across the country who could come to Winnipeg to come for a 2-day conference. We presented grand rounds and a presentation to them at a big banquet in the Brody Atrium. And so 120 of our study members, many of whom may not have even seen each other since the war years, if at all, came, and it was really our first opportunity to put names and faces with lots of our members. We did the plenary session at the Center on Aging Spring Symposium in 2002. The 5 gentlemen sitting in the front row are Manitoba follow-up study members who lived in Winnipeg, and they came and participated in that event. Mr. Wilson in blue, second from the right, is the only surviving member in that group. A few years ago, I was invited to give the plenary address at the University of Victoria Spring Symposium. Unlike the Spring Symposium at the University of Manitoba that's held in May, they have spring in February, so it was in February in Victoria. And knowing that I was able to go out there a day ahead of time, we sent letters to all the study members or contacted who lived on Vancouver Island and asked them whether they'd like to come and have dinner with Dr. Tate. So these fellows all came, many of them with their wives or a family member, to a restaurant for lunch. And it was just a wonderful opportunity. Some of you might know Dr. Richard Stanwyck, who's the medical officer on Vancouver Island, and he came and it was very recognizable to people in Victoria and spoke to them as well. And it was a wonderful day and an opportunity to meet the study members. The man in the brown jacket in the bottom right-hand corner of the picture is Mr. Fawcett, and I'd like to tell you a little bit more about him.